Aloha everybody and welcome to part 5, the final part of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 1. We are in the Egg Station Zone. This is the last level in the game, and we're going to be having one final showdown with Dr. Eggman in outer space, no less. And, yeah, we're fighting the Ball and Chain boss again! This is probably the most overused boss fight in all of Sonic history. We had to fight the Ball and Chain in Sonic 1, we had to fight the Ball and Chain in Sky Sanctuary Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. In Sonic Advance, for the Game Boy Advance, Eggman dusted it out one more time to fight you in the final stage of that level. And with Sonic 4 Episode 1, he brings out the Ball and Chain one more time because, well, twice, because we had to fight it in Splash Hill, and now we fight it again here in the Egg Station. And yeah, in case you can't tell, this isn't a proper level. This is not a full-fledged platformer level. Egg Station Zone is mostly a boss rush, except for the final boss at the very, very end. So once again, we have to go through the Ball and Chain boss, we have to go through the Casino Street boss, and we got 2 more coming up. And the only difference is their health bar is a lot shorter. Normally it would take 8 hits to destroy Eggman's Eggmobile, but now it only takes 4, which is very similar to a concept in Sonic Advance 2, where you did have to do a boss rush at the end of that game as well, and all the boss's health was reduced to 4 hits. But this area is still 1 hit for you, so watch out. I feel like he moves a little bit faster. I feel like some of his moves are a little bit more deadly, just a little bit, than it was from the original fight, but it's not a big, significant, like, oh man, this is so much more impossible. Like, it's not, like, broken or ridiculous. It's just the same fights we've seen over and over again. But yeah, you may have noticed the Egg Station Zone looks very, very similar to the Death Egg Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's in outer space, it's got orange backgrounds, orange walls, you know. But we're not in the Death Egg, we're in the Egg Station. But it's very, very, very similar. And a lot of the first phases we don't have to go through, obviously. Like with the Lost Labyrinth, we didn't have to chase after Eggman. We didn't have to fight all the bubble sections with this boss, so we're just chasing him. We're just in Phase 2 as soon as the fight begins. And the entire stage is just the pinch music that Eggman gets when he starts getting crazy and more intense. But for the whole stage, you know? It's a pretty repetitive, like, 15-second loop, this song, so I can see why some people might not like the song all that much. But either way, we just rebeat all 4 bosses all over again. Now it's time to take out Eggman for reals this time in his final contraption. And we're gonna get another throwback, another nostalgic thing that I've missed. I missed when Dr. Eggman was faster than Sonic. Why can't I catch Dr. Eggman? This makes no sense. Oh my god. And yes, the game is that unoriginal. The final boss of the game is the Death Egg robot from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It operates a little bit differently. It's not going to be the exact same boss fight. But again, I imagine this must have been really disappointing to some players when this place looks like the Death Egg Zone, and then you fight the Death Egg boss, and it's like, oh, you could have done something new. You could have done something more original, Sonic 4. I mean, yeah, it's kind of different. It's a little easier. I mean, you have rings. You can see how much easier it is for me to bounce into this guy. Normally, it would be really easy to hit his claw arms and then die instantly because you touched the claw arms, you know? When he's about to land on you and stuff, it's pretty obvious. You hear the beeping, and when it stops beeping, it's like, you know to get out of the way. I can just sort of stand there and then casually walk away. Come on, Eggman. I got rings this time. You don't think this is going to work the second time around, do you? I feel like I've hit you a lot, though. I feel like I've hit you more than like 10 or 12 times by now. Also, this stage's pretty repetitive, too. But after a while, when you start hitting Eggman enough, this is when he unleashes his dangerous form. This is when his body gets electrified, and you cannot damage the machine as long as he's electrified. Spin dash! He'll occasionally try to, like, make tiny hops from one side of the room to the other, and you can spin dash just as he's in midair. It's a very tight moment, but I love dodging that. It always makes me feel good when I dodge that. So instead, you're supposed to keep away from Eggman and wait for him to launch his claw arm up into the sky, It's going to come back down, and it will also be electrified, so you got to watch out. But I time it so that I jump into it before the electricity kicks on. It wears off and then turns on, then wears off, then turns on as it's falling down. And if you manage to hit it while the electricity is currently off for the split second, you can immediately knock it into Eggman. However, if you let it fall into the ground, it will get stuck in the ground, and then you just have to bounce into it 3 times for the claw to hit Eggman. And again, when the claw hits Eggman, his body won't be electric anymore, and you can actually take some pot shots and get his health down a little bit. So, he got stuck in the ground. Hit, hit, hit. It goes forward. Knocks Eggman, his electricity wears off, and I jump into him as much as I can for as little time as I can. But as soon as the claw returns, he's going to turn on the electricity again, and the more you hit him, the more he's going to start shooting his homing shots and his laser, which he has. Like, one time when you're waiting for the claw to come down, he'll actually shoot this laser, and you'll need to jump in time in order to dodge it, right? So, it gets a little intense. I actually heard a lot of people find this boss kind of hard, and a lot of people took a long time trying to figure out how to beat this guy. I don't know. Personally, I found out how to use the claw really quickly, and I found dodging his stuff wasn't a problem. I don't think this is that hard of a boss, especially since you got rings and stuff. I don't think this is harder than the Sonic 2 boss. I think it's so much easier to just get killed with the Sonic 2 boss. And, hey, if some people are getting challenged by this guy, well, I'm glad about that. I'm glad the boss actually challenged you and didn't, you know, he wasn't just a pushover who went down in like 2 seconds, you know? Spin dash! I love that. I love dodging that. And watch out for those homing shots. I always generally try to make sure he's always on the very far side of the room, whether the left or the right, whenever he's like flying up in the sky and he's gonna try and land on me, because, you know... Almost got hit. But, like, I want him to be far away so that when he does actually send his claw to try and hit you, you aren't actually near it, so that you can just go straight up and it won't come close to you. But, final hit, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out! He's up to something! He will ground pound super hard so that it stuns Sonic, and you gotta hurry up after he stunned you, or if you've jumped over it, because you gotta hit him one final time before he collapses the whole floor and takes you with it. He will literally kill you in one hit if you do not attack him right there, and you'll have to restart the entire boss fight all over again. But that's the final boss, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I got that achievement for not getting hit during the entire stage. I'm pretty good at this game. But what if you collect all the rings along the way? See, this is actually an interactive segment. I'm actually controlling Sonic when he jumps. I can't control when he moves. He's always moving forward. But if you know the placement of the rings and you memorize it perfectly, and you manage to hit all of them on the way to the end, then Sonic turns into Supersonic for the ending screen. That was the first time I ever did that, ever. Like, that Avatar award that just popped up, that's the first time I've ever gotten that. That is such a hard thing to do. I had to, like, memorize where the rings were, the timing I would need to jump because you can't see them fast enough. And, you can only replay it after you've beaten Egg Station. You saw it was like a 5-minute level because I have to go through all 4 bosses and the final boss all over again just to get a chance to replay the ending and get my Supersonic ending. And it's like, ugh. I told myself if I didn't get it in 5 tries, I'm not going to record it, and I'm not going to share it in my Let's Play. But luckily, on my 4th attempt, I managed to get it, and I was like, oh, thank God. So that was the first time ever I got the Supersonic ending. And yes, I managed to beat Egg Station without getting hit by any of the bosses, and that was a lucky, lucky fucking game. I wasn't planning for that. I didn't mean to make my Let's Play get that. I just accidentally played the game from muscle memory of playing it before, and I managed not to get hit. And then when I saw that symbol pop up, that achievement unlocked pop up, it was like acid. It was like ecstasy. It felt like a drug, man. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of Episode 1. Like I said, there is a Sonic 4 Episode 2, but it didn't come out until after Sonic Colors, after Generations, after a lot of Sonic games. So I'm actually going to wait until I get through those games, and then I'll be returning to Sonic 4 Episode 2. It's got red rings, it's got the Sonic Generations type signs and stuff. I feel like it'd be a good idea to tackle it when it actually came out. Not directly after, but you already know my opinion on this game. I think it flows perfectly fine. I don't mind the momentum issues. Yeah, it would be nice to be Tails and Knuckles. Yeah, I wish the stages were a little bit more original. But this is way more true to Sonic than a lot of games from the 2000 period, and I think these levels are absolutely fine. Every now and then I would come back to my Xbox 360, and I would be bored, and I'd be like, I want to play something, I got nothing going on, and then I'd be like, why not Sonic 4? I would replay Sonic 4 a whole bunch of times, honestly. I didn't just play it back in 2010. I picked it up in 2012, I picked it up in 2013, I've picked it up in 2014. I actually come back to this game every now and then, and I play it again, you know? It's not the most original game in the world, but I certainly think it flows well. I certainly think it's worth picking up. And you better get it while it's hot on the digital servers, you know? There is no retail version of this game, and you might want to pick it up while you can in case you're curious to try it out. Because I'm telling you, I think Sonic 4 is a perfectly fine game. It's a perfectly playable game that's very similar to stuff like Sonic Pocket Adventure. Sure, it's not an original game. Sure, Sonic has green eyes. Like that matters. But I think it's worth playing, honestly. I think it's absolutely worth playing. So normally, if I didn't get the Chaos Emeralds, it would tell me to try again here, but instead, I did get the Chaos Emeralds, so we got ourselves the real ending. Sonic, waving his finger. Eggman, he may be back. He's laughing. He might have a trick up his sleeve, and oh my god! What was that? That looked like Metal Sonic! Are we gonna see Metal Sonic in Sonic 4 Episode 2? Oh! Well, it's to be continued, and I'll get back to Sonic 4 after Colors and Generations and stuff, but I'm not actually getting to even Colors yet. Next in the Sonic retrospective, oh boy, I'm going to be tackling the Kinect-only Sonic Free Riders for the Xbox 360. I am not looking forward to that. That's a bad game. That's a really bad game, but thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed Sonic 4. Until next time, I am the Great Clement. Toodles.